rather than take a break for the 4th of July and let them go on their cruise and then come back. That disruption of time could have been, and not only that, they would then have been exposed to all of the media. And the media has been very...
I understand that, but if that's the case, then bring professional jurists in there, pay them a decent wage, so their main job is to decide the proper etiquette and make a proper decision. That's what you should do.
Chris, you need to think about that carefully, because professional juries, that's got a lot of connotations. And I think there's some benefit to having a jury of your peers. I'm not a lawyer, but to have a professional jury get up there and I'm wrongfully accused, I may end up in prison for life, or I may end up being executed because a professional jury thought they knew what they were doing. I'd much rather have a jury of my peers look at the evidence and make a decision.
Well, I mean, okay, I disagree with that because, I mean, again, if I was the prosecution, I would want a professional jurist. If I was a defendant like Casey Anthony, who was not going to take the stand and look me in the eye to tell me she was innocent, and she did not do that, and I know that's not supposed to count, but you're a human being in there and it counts. And I've been on a criminal case, and I would like the guy, if he's so innocent of what he is being charged with, then go up on that stand, look me in the eye, and tell me. And she didn't do that, and, you know, that to me is a negative as far as Casey Anthony is concerned.
You know, Chris, a lot of decisions made by the judge favored the prosecution. And, you know, the judge was a former prosecutor. I mean, if we really want fairness, I think we ought to impose some sort of regulation where before a judge sits in a criminal case, they are exposed to both defense experience as well as prosecution.
Most judges, most federal judges or state judges in this case come from the prosecution side, right?
Precisely, that's correct.
And you think that's unfair?
I certainly do.
Do you think this judge did a good job?
I'd rather not comment on whether he did a good job. I mean, I'm critical of some of his decisions, but, you know, he is the judge and you have to respect that.
All right, forensic evidence, you mentioned a hair strand. They didn't have any blood. The duct tape is very dicey with this duct tape. What did you want you said they got burned by the one guy there, the forensic evidence expert who's, you know, brought up whatever he brought up.
The air sample.
The air sample. Well, what did you want? I mean, they brought 133 witnesses on board to prosecute. What did from a scientific standpoint, what would you have done differently if you were part of the prosecution here?
Well, I think I would have done the same I would have used the same approach, use science to prove the case, but I would have been very careful about who I brought forward for expert testimony. The air sampling was very controversial. Jeff Ashton knew it was controversial right from the beginning. In fact, he said, I was the first to bring DNA into a court in the United States in Florida on a rape case, Tommy Lee Andrews case. And now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to bring this air sampling in. It's state-of-the-art. When the reality is, not only was it not state-of-the-art, it simply was not ready for prime time. It had not been validated. It had not...
But he had no... But Lawrence, he had no choice. We just went through the idea. He didn't have no witnesses and no blood. He had to do something to try to... So you would recommend he would not have put any of this just kind of on her character and not put any of this onto the witness stand?
No. I would have brought on the stand forensic experts that had experience in criminal matters, that understood the limitations of the science. They would have testified in a conservative way, but they would have made the point that the chemistry appears to be a result of decomposition. Can they say it's human? No. Can they say it's animal? No. But a conservative approach, this fellow, Arvin Bass...
was too radical, was too convincing.
He's an anthropologist. He's not even a chemist. He's doing chemistry, and he's not even a chemist. Okay? His conclusions were not necessarily warranted by his test and his observations. In fact, there were certain chemicals you would expect to find from human decomposition that he did not find. And he just explained that away and came to his conclusion anyway, interestingly, because that's what the prosecution wanted.
One more thing. Down deep in your heart. You to me, you know, listen, I know you're a New Yorker, you probably, you know, I've done radio shows here for 30 years. It sounds like your track record is superb. You to me, you think she killed her kid?
Honestly, I think there was some kind of accident. I don't know if it was a swimming pool.
She didn't drown. She didn't drown.
I don't know if it was a chemical accident. There was some sort of accident, and she covered it up, and it snowballed. That's what I really think. I find it almost, I just find it impossible that given what we know about how she treated Kaylee for 2 years, 2.5 years, I find it impossible that in order to go party, she would deliberately, with premeditation, murder a 2-year-old girl.
So you think, so you think those little pictures they wanted to show you, the defense about her with the little girl on her arms there in the house, in the grandparents' house, that to you, if you're a member of a jury, would mean a lot?
Well, all the testimonies indicated that she was a relatively good mother, taking care of the child, dressing her properly, feeding her, and all the rest. Of course, Cindy Anthony played a major role in the child.
Yeah, she does. She dumped the kid off at the grandparents' house an awful lot. I mean, let's be honest.
Right, she's a 22-year-old at that time, 22-year-old young kid, and she made some very wrong decisions. She was brought up to lie, which she did, and she did well. She was a professional liar, but again, it doesn't make her a killer.
Do you think that the prosecution bit more off than they should chew? Do you think they should have just gotten child neglect or something along those lines?
Yes, exactly. I'm absolutely convinced that they overcharged her, and I don't know if it was because of the high media attention here, but had they charged her with a lesser charge, perhaps involuntary homicide, something of that sort, I think maybe the verdict would have been different. But even there, they didn't have the evidence.
Well, see, to me they do. To me, there is a pattern of terrible behavior, of lying, of neglect, of partying 4 days after you.
I agree.
See, here's my problem, Lawrence. You want to sit there and tell me she's a great mother and she's good with her kid, yet 4 days after the kid's dead, she's out there at Orlando nightclubs.
Yeah, I think people...
So how's that work? Hold on now. She's drinking the night away with all the boyfriends. You do that after... Wait, would you do that after your kid died, Lawrence?
No, it's bizarre. It's not normal.
Kid's not even... The body's not even cold yet. You go out there and you go party, you drink some beers? You wouldn't do that.
It's inexcusable. It's behavior that we're just not used to thinking about or hearing about or reading about. But again, that doesn't make her a killer. And really, the state's burden is to prove it, and they haven't done it.
Yeah, see, to me, I disagree with you. I would have been a juror who would have said this. I can't stand for this. And again, beyond a reasonable doubt, Lawrence, I know you're a forensic guy. We'll get another lawyer on later to discuss that. That is not 100%. No, that is a gray area. That is, you are not getting, if it's 100%, nobody would get acquitted. Everybody would, that's a 75% deal, that thing. That's what it is. That's 75% beyond a reasonable doubt.
Well, that's the standard.
But see, I am 75% sure she killed her.
But the jury heard both prosecution and defense explain, as well as the judge, explain as best you can what reasonable doubt is. And they said they've got it. They didn't have all the answers.
They also wanted to go on vacation. We've gotten that ascertained, too.
True.
It's a very tricky case. Great job, Lawrence. Thanks for helping me out.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Okay, very good. Lawrence did a great job. The doc here. Koblansky, professor of forensic sciences, of science at John Jay. Thoughts with him. We come back with Mr. Torrey.